Hey, this is Bradley J from the StreamYard video here at Alpha Media. And today I get to talk about one of my favorite things to be a part of, and that would be Special Olympics. And it's been very different for the athletes of Special Olympics because of COVID-19. They're not getting to go out and do, the things that an athlete would do to go out and participate in the sports that they love. So instead of me trying to tell you what they've been up to and what they're doing, I want to bring on a guest today, and his name is John. John, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
I am good. Special Olympics, John, very dear to my heart. I love being a part of Special Olympics, going out to the events, watching the athletes perform. But let me ask you some questions because we are in a different time right now with COVID-19 and the pandemic and, people having to quarantine. How are the athletes holding up during COVID-19?
It's really been a difficult time for our athletes. We have about 5,000 athletes across the state of Kansas and that participate with Special Olympics Kansas, and it's been hard for them. Probably one of our biggest problems is keeping our athletes active. We have lots of virtual stuff going on, but it's hard for them to, really get with their local teams at this time or to get out and about. A lot of them are on lockdown. Some are in group homes. It really depends on their situation, but we're trying to protect them as much as possible. And, part of that is not getting to see one another, which is probably the hardest part through this whole time.
It is very difficult, man, because even here at work, we're only having so many people come into the radio station. So we're missing our coworkers as well. But for being an athlete, it's got to just drive you crazy because you want to be out there participating with your friends, with people that we know. Do you know when we're going to return to activities and when they're going to start taking place again?
Well, we've had everything shut down basically since about March 15th of last year. And, we are talking about returning. We're hopefully going to return in May is our goal. Right now, we just shut down powerlifting season for across the state, which is one of my favorite seasons. We have canceled some of the spring sports, basketball. We usually have two huge basketball tournaments in the state that we've had to shut down just because of the scares with COVID. But we're looking at return hopefully May, first part of June, in that area. We're going to, of course, can be very cautious with our athletes going forward, but I can finally see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel because it's been probably one of the longest years we've ever had.
It does seem like the year has gone on forever. We are in 2021, which I think Wait, what year is it? Anyway, see, I'm like all confused with what year we're in. 2021. It's just been a crazy year. And especially for the athletes, I mean, the way that you talk about it, I know they're just chomping at the bit to get back out there. But are there activities that you guys have done since being in lockdown?
Yeah, definitely. We've done everything virtually. That's the thing that we had to kind of get forced onto us in March. We started off with a challenge for athletes, coaches, unified partners, and volunteers across the state. We did a walking challenge from our headquarters office in Mission, Kansas to Goodland. And we would have our athletes and our other members basically log their miles. And we would make it almost a race and see who could get to Goodland, Kansas faster. We had, in the end, we had about 140 participants in that virtual competition, and we awarded prizes throughout the state. We had some athletes that were walking 8 to 10 miles a day to be able to get to Goodland, which is, we called it the I-70 challenge because it basically went from Kansas City to Goodland, and I-70 goes across our whole state. So people jumped on board on that on the virtual side, which was great. And, we have 4 times a week, we have virtual either educational stuff going on or workouts going on for our athletes. So they can tune in on Facebook Live or they can do it on the Zoom meetings. And it's been a different time, but it's been good to be able to reach the athletes.
I see that we just got a comment from Nicole who said, we love Special Olympics. JC Pacesetters is our local team. Do you know that team?
I do. I do. They're a very active team, and like I miss all the teams, but especially the ones that are very active and very very involved with Special Olympics Kansas. You get to know those faces, the coaches, volunteers, the athletes. That's why I got involved with Special Olympics. The hugs, the handshakes, the great relationships that you form. That's what I miss the most. This year's proven to me how much I really miss those relationships that I've had across the state. This is my 29th year involved with Special Olympics. So I mean, I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I've seen a lot of people have really made some great strides because of our program.
Well, one of the things that my coworkers have been reminding me of, because every year that I've been a part of Special Olympics, which is only a few, the Polar Plunge rolls around. And my coworkers and some of the volunteers are always like, Bradley J, are you going to do the Polar Plunge? And I'm always like, I'm 50-50 on it. Well, this year, I'm 70-30 right now on the Polar Plunge. But talk about the big fundraiser, the Polar Plunge. I mean, it's I've been out there and people have urged me, and maybe, John, maybe you can convince me to get to 100% to do the Polar Plunge. What do you say?
Yeah, you were breaking up a little. You were breaking up a little bit there, but Polar Plunge wise, we have 11 locations across the state that we do the Polar Plunge in. That's one of our biggest fundraisers that we do is our Polar Plunge. It's through the law enforcement torch run, and you have to be a little crazy to do it. I've done it 19 years, the plunge, and I keep trying to talk myself out of it the older I get. But it's a fundraiser basically that you raise money to be able to jump into some icy cold waters in the state of Kansas. And, we've made lots and lots of money for our program and funded a lot of our events and, medals and equipment. Everything goes into that. So everybody that does the plunge really helps out our program and our athletes. It allows us to really push the program to the next level. So it's a little crazy. We're talking next Saturday in Kansas City, our first plunge in Kansas City and Pittsburgh. We're going to have to break the ice at the lake. So it's going to be a cold one. It's a little crazy, but it's a great fundraiser.
Well, every year, I was telling you, you may not have heard me when I was breaking up, but every year they try to get me to do that. And right now I'm 70-30 on doing it. I have a couple of coworkers, Shayla and Lindsay, who are, you're doing it. And this year I'm going to do it. And I think one of the reasons why is because we're doing it at a different location. We're doing it and I can't think of what the aquatic center here in Topeka. And I think it's going to be a little more controlled, though they did say that they can make waves when I go in, and they said they can make 4-foot waves when I go in. So I'm going to do it this year. Nicole says do it. So
hey, I would recommend it. Like I said, I've done it lots of times, and it's only a brief minute that it hurts a little bit, but it's definitely worth it. And I'm sure in Topeka, Topeka does a great job with their law enforcement and everything they have going on over there for Special Olympics, and they are one of the great towns in Kansas. But they do it so well. They put on an event so well over there, and I'm sure there'll be lots of athletes out there, socially distanced, of course. But it's a great time. You won't regret it. You got to at least do it once.
One time, if I do it once, I'll probably end up doing it more than once. Once you do it, you just got to keep it like you have. Like I'll be like you, John. 29 years later, here I am doing the Polar Plunge. Well, speaking of the Polar Plunge, I wonder, any celebrities on board to help with the Polar Plunge, or even Special Olympics of Kansas? Anybody that we would know, a celebrity?
Yeah, there's actually some celebrities that have come on board. That's kind of the hidden gems with COVID. We've reached out to some celebrities to do some shout outs and stuff to our athletes. Dalton Reisner, which played for K-State, and he is a Denver Bronco. I know a lot of Chiefs fans around here, but he is a Denver Bronco. Dalton is one of our champions for Special Olympics Kansas. He does so much for us. Does social calls with our athletes, donates money to our program, and is just an advocate so much for our program. We also have Chris Jones with the Kansas City Chiefs. He'll be playing in the Super Bowl this weekend. He's a huge champion for our program. Nikki Lopez from the Royals. we've had lots and lots of different celebrities across the state that are kind of Kansas homebred have come out and really supported our athletes, which is great. And it's just great to have those connections with those celebrities supporting our athletes. And our athletes really get a big thrill out of talking to professional athletes and movie stars and different stuff like that.
Well, I just want to say you can add this celebrity on the list to doing the Polar Plunge. I mean, if Dalton Reisner and Chris Jones can support it, I can do the Polar Plunge. So I'm 100% in guaranteed. So I hope that makes you happy. I hope that makes Nicole happy who's watching. I'm going to raise money during my show on 94.5 Country, try to get some people to help out. So I'll try to do my part for the Polar Plunge. John, anything else that you want to talk about when it comes to the athletes and Special Olympics of Kansas before I let you go?
Sure. Yeah, our athletes are just used to going year-round. Our program is a year-round sports program. We have 21 sports that go on throughout the year. Most people, the biggest question I get is, when is the Special Olympics? I kind of have to laugh because we're going year-round. 21 sports, everything from snowshoeing to weightlifting to volleyball to golf to bocce. We do it all. So our athletes are always busy, and they're used to, in a normal year, going nonstop and only taking about 2 weeks off for the whole year. So that's why it's been so much different for our athletes. And we'll get back to normal, but as of right now, we just got to protect them and the coaches and everybody involved.
That is awesome, man. And I will say I got some approval from Nicole. She says, woo, for me doing the Polar Plunge this year. So, Nicole, give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself, John, a pat on the back for getting me to get in the water and continue to support a great cause, Special Olympics of Kansas. John, thank you so much for joining us, taking time out of your day to get us updated on the athletes of Special Olympics of Kansas. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
You too, John. Thank you.